And hello again, YouTube. I'm here with the promised Vladimir guide. First of all, a bit about Vladimir. From what I know, he is the first new champion I have seen in the league, at least for me. When I joined the league, it was the day Vladimir appeared in it. So, a bit of a special champion for me. He's also the first one I've ever bought using IP. So I've been playing him for a long time. Now then, a bit about his playstyle. Vladimir can be played on the top lane or on the mid lane. In the first two seasons of LoL, it was possible to play Vladimir as a tank or as an AP carry. While I still believe this is possible, I do think playing him as an AP carry with some durability and health should be more rewarding. And that's what I'm going to focus on this match. I'll be having two games, two laning phases, and several team fights, showing you the fails and also the main things about using Vladimir. And yes, I have the legendary skin. Now then, a few things about him. The passive, Crimson Pact. For every 40 points of bonus health, Vladimir gets 1 ability power, and for every 1 point of ability power, he gets 1.4 bonus health points. So you can see the rate is a lot higher on ability power, and for each point of ability power he will have more than 1 point of health. This, however, is not stacking with itself, so you cannot go wrong with it. It will not go into something like gain more ability power, gain more health, and so on endlessly. But it is still a useful passive, which will make Vladimir a pretty tanky mage. You will see Kha'Zix is attempting a gank, but with Vladimir's signature skill, Sanguine Pool, he is easily denied. I should have flashed before here, and they managed to get the first blood on me. One of the few kills they will get on me. The Kha'Zix will babysit the top here, but it's a great occasion to show you just what Vladimir is good for. As you'll see, I've gotten a few potions. And let's talk abilities. The Q, Transfusion, instantly damages an enemy within range, and after a few seconds heals Vladimir for a flat amount depending on his ability power. It is a very powerful last-hitting tool, but until level 4 or 5 its cooldown makes it less effective than most Q type abilities. After 4 and 5, the sustain on Vladimir greatly increases, which enables him to harass, tower dive, and all this while remaining at full health throughout the exchanges. Also, it is the only skill, except his ultimate, which does not require a cost in health. Vladimir is a mana-less hero, And as such, the transfusion and the ultimate have no cost. The W and the E, the Tides of Blood and the Sanguine Pool, have a cost in a percentage of health and a flat amount of health, respectively. On to the W, the Sanguine Pool. Vladimir sinks into a pool of blood for 2 seconds, becoming untargetable and slowing enemies about him by 40%. Vladimir deals damage, which scales with his bonus health. In other words, a different form of AP scaling. Which also adds health from items. And he heals himself for a certain percentage over the duration. This is Vladimir's signature skill, and is also one of the most useful escapes in the game. Early on, this escape was the most hated thing in the game, as mages did not have that many escapes, and even so, it was something along the lines of an EVSQ. If you cannot hit it, it's useless. With Vladimir, you just don't give a damn. The E on Vladimir costs a flat amount of health each time it is used, and has several effects. Here you will see me waste the ultimate, just to make sure Gangplank will stay low. But as I said, Tides of Blood. It also deals damage to all enemies around Vlad, including invisible ones. This is useful especially when you have to check the bush and not face check it, because you will see the skill shot going into the bush, and you'll know the enemies are there, at least some of them. It can also be used against Akali, Shaiko, and a few other invisible heroes. Here I'm using the blood pool, but as you can see, being untargetable does not mean it cancels effects like Ignite or so on. If you already have them on you, you will pretty much die, especially since it consumes a part of your current health. See, 20% of current health. If you're at max health, the Sanguine Pool will deal probably a lot more damage than the first few seconds of an enemy's attacks. So it's better to wait for it to get hit a few times before you do something stupid. However, that is not universally true. Sometimes letting an enemy get a red buff tick on you, or a frozen mallet proc, will hinder your escape, which would have normally been useful. It is advisable that you carefully think and decide when is the best time to use the pool, and when is the best time to simply run, or hit everything you got except the pool. Wait for that very last second when you need cooldowns. As a general rule, Vladimir has low cooldowns. However, there will be times when everything is on cooldown. In such times, have the blood pool ready and buy yourself some time. One more thing about the Tides of Blood before I move on to the ultimate. Each cast gives an empowered stack, stacking up to the number of 4 stacks. Each stack increases healing and regeneration by 4%. However, be careful about this, it also increases Tides of Blood cost and damage by 25% per stack. At max stack, you can have a lot of it. You can have 100% damage increase. Also, the Kha'Zix, I don't think he plays Vladimir. That was the ultimate in action. The ultimate inflicts the target area with a plague, causing increased damage to all enemies for 5 seconds. After the 5 seconds, the enemies take magic damage. This is very useful for casting at the start of combat because the enemies will get hit a lot in a team fight, and if you manage to hit many of them, the damage will be increased to most of the team, giving you a slight advantage over them. Likewise, most people will not flash in time considering the ultimate of Vladimir. If they get hit by a large amount of burst and still not die, the ultimate will probably finish them off. This is pretty much everything I can tell you about the skills. On to runes and masteries. Basically, any runes fit for an tank or alternatively a mage can be very useful for Vladimir. However, what is recommended are the following: magic penetration marks and quintessences, health percentage bonus seals, or health percentage bonus quintessence. As for the glyphs, you have several choices. I usually go with AP per level or magic resist. Likewise, as most people don't have HP percentage seals, as they are pretty expensive and the newest added to the game, you may also use armor seals, flat health seals, or health per level seals. Same goes for the quintessences. Flat AP, AP per level, health, and health per level also work just as fine. For the masteries, however, this is a bit different, as most of the time you will want to be durable, but not completely a tank. There needs to be a balance. This also depends on the role you want to play in the respective game. I personally most of the time use a combination of offensive and defensive masteries, or just go for the standard mage masteries. There have also been times when I've had to go with the full tank masteries. It really depends on you guys, and as it's a very versatile gameplay depending on what you want and on everyone's playstyle, I do suggest you experiment with it. It is simply the best way to find something. I've been using it, thousands of players have been using it. In this season, the third season, experimentation is best. So at least with the masteries, I would like you guys to experiment and rely on your instincts, on your own thoughts. Or if not, feel free to ask and I will upload a few choices. As for the items, the first item, which is a must for Vladimir and most people rush it as fast as they can, the Hextech revolver. which gives spell ramp and increases Vladimir's healing abilities to a ridiculous amount. I'll have you notice I'm not exactly fed, other than my farm, which is not the best in the team, and I only have 2 kills and 3 deaths. And yet I'm doing quite a bit of pressuring here, as I have a better sustain and the abilities needed to dodge the skill shots of the enemy. As Vladimir doesn't have the range or the early burst other mages have, dodging skill shots is an absolute must for any Vladimir player. Also, know that there are a lot of skills you can simply cancel out, such as Tariq stun, by using the blood pool, the sanguine pool, Vladimir's signature escape. Likewise, pulling in the middle of the enemy team when you are low health will reduce the amount of damage the pool will do to you in cast. However, it will also maximize the lifesteal you have, the spell ramp, combined with the ability his own regeneration. I've seen Vladimir players completely heal themselves from near death in the middle of a team fight, which is also one of the reasons Vladimir is the first truly tanky mage. I mean, we know Nunu, for example. Just an example. He can be built as a mage. He can go tanky. But both mage and tanky in a team fight, not as effective as you may think, guys. Vladimir, on the other hand, he'll just destroy. For the next part, I will be showing several team fights, as well as individual kills. So please excuse me if I skip around a bit or show a different game all of a sudden. We have stopped here, so you guys can notice the fail of the Kha'Zix. Gangplank barely escaping with his life. I do, however, make the mistake of staying here and not hitting the Gangplank. I hit the Nidalee. Not my intention. I should have backed away, but still managed to get off a kill. As you can see, 1 death, 1 kill. In fact, I'm actually getting ahead of in farm. Vladimir is an excellent farmer because of the QND. 2 E-casts, sanguine tides, or blood tides. Tides of blood, yeah. Can completely clear out a minion wave, no matter how big. 1 more Q for their cannon minion and free farm. What can I say? We are here when a team fight escalates. And thanks to my ultimate, we managed to get 2 kills. However, well, the Nidalee was over everywhere apparently. You'll see me coming in, scaring off most of the enemies. However, as MF was extremely fed and I walk right into the ultimate, the last tick of ignite gets me killed. This is one of the bad examples of playing Vladimir. You are not supposed to go Rambo when when your enemies are fed, as you can see up here. They have double our kills and a good gold advantage. You are not supposed to go Rambo like this, especially when you're not fed. You can see that. Also, I do suspect there is someone around there besides Nidalee. It's why I'm trying to bait them. Come on, guys, come on. Here, birdie. Come on, you stupid bird. Anivia misses me with practically every single skill. And she pays for it. As you can see, the pool can be effectively used as a very powerful escape mechanism. Also, I should probably start talking a bit about items while we are here. I've already mentioned the Hextech revolver. While you can upgrade it into several AP based items with more lifesteal, it's not that rare for a Vladimir player to finish the game with just the Hextech revolver and nothing more powerful. So as long as you are confident you can do your job, nothing else really matters that much. What you will need, however, is Liandry's Torment, as it gives both AP and health, along with magic pen and powerful abilities. And this is the part which I hate, Anivia's wall. Yeah, this was stupid of me. I should have just run around into the middle of them like that. As you can see, the sanguine pool, I keep calling it the blood pool, is not an almighty escape. It can be very powerful, but when used correctly. The slow mechanism on it will slow down enemies near you, but that's about it. If you're too far away, you will not move faster, you will not slow the enemies, and so on. Another very powerful item on Vladimir, and most of the games required, is the Rabadon Death Cap, exactly what I'm making now. If you are a top laner against, or pretty much against any physical damage based character, the first item you will actually want after the revolver is the new item, the Seeker's Arm Guard, and afterwards making sure to upgrade it later on in the game or whenever you feel comfortable with it into the Zonia Hourglass. Afterwards, there are a few options. You can make a Warmog to gain a stupid amount of durability with Vladimir. Here again I make a bad choice. And I'm not the only one, apparently. Making your entrance as the right hit time is key to being a good Vladimir. I'm not giving exactly good examples so far, But this is simply because when you're going in as a Vladimir, when you're initiating the fight, when the ultimate goes down, your team had better start fighting or it's lost. You are all very confused this game. Most of us pre-mades, a few of us on Skype even. You will notice Imra and Vlad. But yeah. More about the game. Oh yeah, I died again with the teleport. Again, going against fed enemies when you're not fed is a bad choice. I was still playing Rambo at the time. As this was a normal and I was with friends, I do believe I was more or less okay with my choice. Doesn't mean I was planning on losing. Far from it. Was that a flash? Yeah, great moment. Also, the Rare Light Crystal Scepter is another powerful item for Vladimir. And I do believe we have full build. At times the Abyssal Scepter is also recommended if their AP carry is very fed or if they have something like Viegar. The Abyssal Scepter and the Twin Shadows. Depending on the enemies, it may be advisable to make these items as well. Also, if you need something like backdooring mechanism for Vladimir, or pretty much any AP carry, the Lich Bane is always an option. A very good option, but still an option. One only few players truly use to the max. But I should speed this up a bit. We enter another badly chosen team fight. However, I again overextend and get one-shotted by the MF. And this is a very impressive part for me. Almost, Rams, almost. But then again, we didn't have an AD carry, so yeah. You can see even under farmed, we're doing a good job of, yeah, that. Now then, our CMF running over here. And as I'm afraid TF will die, and sadly he will, damn Ignite, I do take the kill on MF in an attempt to save him, even if one hit was okay. Also, at this point we didn't bother someone taking the kills. All that mattered was that the enemy died already. It was a long game, it was a very hard one. And it will be on the full games. And Ramos takes the kill again. And again. And finally I take down that annoying Gangplank. Also, throughout the fights you will have noticed my most important skill is getting away and staying alive. As I'm already quite tanky for a mage with 3000 health. I can safely say that I'm almost as tanky as Ramus. Even tankier against magic damage, maybe. No, too little magic resist. But still, I'm doing my job. I do die like an idiot here. And I do not know why the hell I had a shutdown. I've died non-stop. But oh well. Yet another fight erupts and we managed to get Kha'Zix, who failed his jump. Our Graves barely killing the MF. Gangplank coming to feed some more. Of course I'm being evil here. He was simply trying to finish off the Graves, not knowing he can lifesteal that much. Or that we were there. Heck, if I was him I would have probably done something similar. Except the dying part. Now then, as you can see, Vlad's minion cleaning abilities begin to shine, as I'm leaving virtually no minions on any lane. And yeah. See ya, Kha'Zix. I'll admit my farm was good, but otherwise, meh. Okay, I guess. This was the first game, and now we'll fly over to the mid phase of Vladimir. I will try to somehow balance them out. I hope it will simply work out. And now, some of you may recognize the name of the Zerat, or the general team composition here. And yes, this is me as Vladimir, actually playing correctly. I'll admit, I have my good phases and my bad phases. The one at the top, not my best one. Not a bad one, but not my best. Did a lot of mistakes. Here, well, this time I'm pretty much like a goddamn god. Unkillable, unbeatable, everything you want. As you can see, as long as most mages have skill shots based abilities, as long as you can dodge them, Vladimir can pretty much out damage them very easily. And this is exactly what will happen to the Zera throughout the laning phase. Also, one thing I forgot to mention last time when I spoke about the Tides of Blood. While it is a strong ability, there is one mistake a lot of players make. They forget about the hell cost and they spam it throughout the laning phase. Even though it increases healing and stuff like that, it is not an ability that should be spammed. I know some people want to have it at the max stacks, but it's still not worth it. As much as possible, do not use it. Leveling it is okay, but do not use it unless you need the damage, unless you're harassing. Unless that happens, as much as possible, do not use it. As you can see, I'm keeping it more or less low here, because I'm scared of the Xerath. Irresponsible use against a powerful burst mage can mean easy and frightening death. Notice how I do my best to evade every skill shot possible. And throughout the mid lane, on the throughout the laning phase on the mid lane, dodging the skill shots of an enemy is one of the most important tasks you will have. If they're something like Kassadin or Viergar with 0 skill shots, you're in for a lot of trouble. Best farm at the tower and stay with ready to cast a W, because anything less and you will die. Also, on versus such characters, pulling at the right moment or staying still at times is crucial. Against a Viegar, whatever you do, do not let yourself get stunned. And when his Black Matter shot comes, a delayed spell, a few more mages should have them, that is the right time to pull so you negate the damage. While you are pulled, only effects already applied to you, such as Ignite or Malzahar's Malefic Visions, will deal damage to you. Anything else targeted, you cannot be targeted, and area of effect spells will not touch you. However, that does not mean you're completely invulnerable. Most enemies know when you're going to get killed. Here I make a perfect bait with the transfusion, barely staying alive. And I make a point to stay far enough away from the Lee so that I don't get killed. The Nunu was also a team player and let me have the kill on Zerat. One more thing. This is a bit of a general tip, but it's especially true when playing as Vladimir. Constantly spamming Tides of Blood will greatly push the lane. It will open you up for ganking and please excuse me for. Now then, as I was saying, the Tides of Blood will push the lane, and in top lane and mid lane can get you in a few very unfavorable situations. Very easy to gank. Now, before season 1 and 2, if you look at guides which have been around those times, most people will say it shouldn't be a problem, you have a great escape. This is not so true in the 3rd season. The escape is still very powerful, but there are many junglers who can handle Vlad's skill set and more or less cancel it out. If you do, however, want to get all the farm while harassing the enemy, as you can see, I still dodge most of the skill shots he has. But if you do want to get a farm, it's a great skill, but otherwise should not be used for anything other than farming and harassing. Spamming it for just to keep the stacks up, while it may be necessary in some occasions, most of the time it's very much not worth it. As you can see, I dodged the slow from the Lee and make my escape. The pulling just at the right time probably saved me, as a slow from the Lee would have spelled my death. These are pretty much all of the tips I have for the laning phase on mid. It's not that different from top lane, except for the characters you will be facing. The general idea is pretty much more or less the same. A perfect flash from Zerat. Not sure if he actually wanted to do it, but it was perfect. Of course, I'm being mean here. Still, it was a great play from the Zerat and from the Nunu to gank from his jungle like that. Now then, I'll be fast forwarding to some of the team fights here. And sadly, these two games are all I have, as LoL replays, well, replays, are once again bugged. Also, you will notice I'm going on 3 enemies and attempting to use the pool to damage them. However, I forget I'm dealing with a Soraka and she's back to full HP. Now then, one of the other highlights that was this match, I've probably showed it on the other game as well, but can't hurt to do it again. You see the Lee, who has annoyed me throughout the game. Flash, Tides of Blood, Q, and pull for the escape with no tower damage. The damage you see here is from my own pool and the Tides of Blood, as well as 1 or 2 hit as the Q from the Lee. I did not get hit by the tower, I believe, and even if I did, it was at most 1 hit. This is how to tower dive as Vladimir. Flash, E, Q, screwed. Yeah. Who is getting screwed, however, depends on your skill and that of the enemy. Now then, as you can see, I know I will die here. However, I also trust my team to get the kills. And so I get 3 assists. No, 2 assists and 1 kill, I believe. I also killed the Caitlyn somewhere around here. And this enables us to get a dragon. Knowing what your role is in a team is best. In this team fight, my role was bait. Here, guys. Here, puppies. Here, food packs. Burgers, whatever. Come to Vladdy. Yeah. Also, one more thing you may want to remember when playing mid and top lane. This is again general advice and only my opinion, but this is it. With every occasion you have, if you know you can handle your lane, if you know the enemy on your lane will be owned in a very horrific manner, do your best to taunt the jungler into staying on your lane. And when I say taunt, I mean global taunt him so much he will break his keyboard every time you escape from him. And I am a master at taunting, trust me. Also, what do I say when I mean taunt? This is actually very easy. Scaring the shit out of him. This was an exchange, a kill for a kill. But yeah, as I said, taunt the jungler with every occasion you have. Come on! These are just some of my favorite examples. Hey jungler, you may want to help your top laner. Or, hey jungler, are you AFK? Come on, where are you? Come and play. Also, you need to make sure the gank will not succeed. Or play a more underdog type of character, as in you don't actually need far more kills to be powerful in the game. So in that case, die a lot. That's all I'm saying, die a lot, but don't get kills. Whatever you do, do not get kills. This is the way I'm playing my characters. I like to play him revive and teleport. And no, it's not for feeding. It's for making sure the jungler stays on my lane. And will eventually die on my lane, along with the mid. And anyone else stupid enough to follow. Of course, there are times when this fails. There are also a few requirements for this technique. As I've said, the number one requirement, the most important requirement, is that you are sure, 1,000,000,000% sure, you are able to handle both the jungler and the enemy mid or top laner, depending on which lane you are at, and possibly even the other lane, because when you taunt someone so much, eventually they will ask for help if you're constantly escaping and constantly killing them at the tower when they're making stupid things like tower diving. And speaking of tower diving, surviving a tower dive is one of Vlad's PRO moves. Because of the pool, you can just get them right next to you, and when you're low on health, oh, pool time. So yeah, this is pretty much all the advice I have when playing Vladimir, and more or less it's general advice, but it's extremely necessary. As you see in this game, I was getting more or less fed, and I was having a lot of damage. However, compared to other games I've had, not that many kills, but I still did my job. The lane was destroyed, and throughout the game I think I taunted the Lee and pretty much anyone else so much they eventually all came on my lane. They said, screw this, we need to kill the Vladimir, he's annoying. And while it is not exactly fun to be taunted like that, I will admit, at the end of the game, you're all laughing. You need to make it fun, guys. It's a game. Taunt them, but make it enjoyable. Like a quest. Kill the annoying Vladimir. Or whatever you're playing. But yeah, maybe I'll have a live game when I'm doing this. Maybe a bit later. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. This is the last part of footage which I have. Not much else. Oh, maybe this one a bit. Where am I? Oh. So yeah, a fight will erupt here. As you can see, I'm using the skills from under the wall. Irelia jumps me, I flash. And yeah. Notice I only had 3 stacks. If I had 4, that last hit would have killed me. And what did kill me was my greed and stupidity. Right around. Okay, a bit faster. You will see I'm low on health. Oh, Q of Justice. Yeah. That being said, guys, no matter how much you're fed or how well you know to play, don't overextend or do stupid things like I just did now. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it is helpful. If so, leave a comment about it. And I have noticed maybe some of you want to play with me. I'm on the northeast, just at Rezag, and we'll talk about it in game. See you later, YouTube.